Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Easy Rider had a tagline that said, "A man went looking for America and couldn't find it anywhere." And the movie changed how Hollywood films were made in the process. It was once called The Loners, and Dennis Hopper co-wrote and directed it, with Peter Fonda and Jack Nicholson also starring. The movie was shot on a small budget of under $1 million, but it went on to gross more than $60 million worldwide. The storyline goes that in a search for enlightenment, freedom, and above all, an unattainable America, a pair of best friends and free-spirited hippies, Wyatt, a.k.a. Captain America, and Billy set off on a long journey from Los Angeles to New Orleans after completing a lucrative drug deal. All this done in high hopes of making it in time for Mardi Gras. This duo of motorcycle rebels zoomed through the quiet United States heartland in their chromed Harley-Davidson chopper bikes as they encounter a vibrant tapestry of diverse people, friends and foes, endless stretches of road against the backdrop of motors rumbling. Wyatt and Billy keep riding on, looking for that so-called independence, even though malicious animosity and senseless violence get in their way. Peter Fonda's famous dad didn't understand this movie at all. The esteemed Henry Fonda saw a screening of the film after his son had urged him to come down and see an early cut of it. His dad watched it and kind of shook his head. He was really worried about the film's popularity, and he couldn't understand where he was going with the movie or why, and that he didn't think people would get it at all. Even after it was successful, he really thought it was just a loose cannon. One of the most shocking things about the movie is its ending, where both the leads violently perish. The initial idea of the film was to have a couple of young guys who were fed up with the system and wanted to make one big score and then split and use the money to buy a boat in Key West and sail off into the sunset, was basically the general notion in the initial script. The idea of having both the leads killed off was a shocking idea, and most people thought they were out of their gourds in doing so. But that's what makes this film just hit you in the face. The production was one of the first movies to integrate found music in it. Instead of hiring a musician to compose a score for the film, Dennis Hopper decided to use pre-recorded music from Bob Dylan, the band, Steppenwolf, and Jimi Hendrix on the soundtrack. No one had ever found music like this for a movie, with the exception of what was playing on radios or what someone was singing in a scene. But Hopper really wanted the movie to be kind of a time capsule for that period. So while he was editing the film, he would listen to the radio. And that's where he got Born to Be Wild and The Pusher and all those songs that you hear. The filmmakers had to show the movie to the different bands involved in order to get licensing approval. And each one of the bands received $1,000. Rip Torn sued Hopper over the Jack Nicholson role in the film. As the story goes, in 1967, Rip Torn had dinner with Fonda and Hopper, who were considering casting him in the role of lawyer George Hanson. But at some point during that dinner, Rip Torn pulled a knife on Hopper, and this caused him to lose the gig. But to hear Torn say it, it was the other way around, that Hopper pulled the knife on him, and that it was really just a butter knife. He went on to tell this story and basically defame Rip Torn, and he didn't like it at all. He felt like it ruined his career. So he sued Hopper for defamation and won almost $1 million. Peter Fonda was an experienced motorcycle rider, and the chopper he rides in the movie is seriously stretched and raked and has tall ape-hanger style handlebars. Dennis Hopper wasn't that experienced as a rider, therefore his bike is less radically chopped. The movie's driving sequences were among the first to deliberately use lens flare to add atmosphere to the picture. Initially, they got a hard time from the studio for this because they said they hadn't done clean shots. This technique went on to become relatively commonplace in cinematography after that. Almost all the movie was shot outside with natural lighting. And this was an intentional choice because they had limited dollars to work with. And Dennis Hopper often stated that God is a great gaffer. Peter Fonda got the idea for the film after seeing a picture of him and Bruce Dern on their motorcycles. He then got Dennis Hopper involved in the project because at that time, Hopper was planning on leaving acting altogether to become a teacher. Once he became involved in this project, it kind of changed the direction of his future. Hopper was going through a really tough time during the production. His personal use of chemicals was evident on the set. He was paranoid and he screamed at everyone during shooting. Crew members secretly recorded his tirades and sent the tapes to the production company in LA to explain to them why so many people had quit the film. Peter Fonda wore the Captain America jacket and rode his chopper for a week around LA before shooting began, to give it a more broken-in look and to get used to riding the radically designed bike. The American flag on the back of the jacket and on the gas tank of the bike caused him to get pulled over several times by the police. Hopper and Fonda didn't completely write the full script of the movie at the beginning of the shoot. They basically made it up as they went along, and they didn't really hire a crew, but instead picked up hippies at communes across the country and used friends and passers-by to hold the cameras in a lot of the scenes that you see. In the scene where Billy and Wyatt go swimming with the two commune girls, this scene was shot at two completely different times. When they shot the original scene, Peter Fonda was in the hospital, and you can't see him together with Dennis Hopper in this shot. You see his legs dangling a few times in the water while seeing the other actors, but you never see his body. These legs you see are from a stand-in, and the images of Fonda were shot separately several weeks later. Go back and take a look at Easy Rider, one of the most influential films of the 60s. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.